up to Java 10. It is for all pre-patch. So Oracle released a patch in April. If you patch Java with that security patch, you will no longer be bound by this license agreement. And as you can see here, it's basically, I think everyone who sort of used the PC in their time, when you are installing like an application, you just press click, 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 next. I don't know anyone who's reading, for example, when you buy your own PC for Microsoft, their operating system, you just press next really to accept it because you want to get on with working. And just to want to go back to, the free Java is an OpenJDK. The Oracle proprietary Java is on oracle.com. Most companies out there have downloaded the wrong Java. Either they develop or that their developers or most likely did not understand it. Actually, the biggest companies, the big software companies, they already know this because companies such as Symantec, for example, they already have a distribution agreement with Oracle.
So, Frederick, maybe we take a couple of questions now from that's coming in through the call, and I guess some of them you already partly answered. So one is asking here: is Java has it been changed to an audible or licensable, or is it still free? And I guess in this case, the question, of course, is it's a bit complex, but yes, you can be on a free version of Java, but Java SE, in all practicality, it's going to be audible and it's going to be a paid license. I don't know if you want to add anything to that, Frederick.
No, I don't think so. But it's Oracle. You mean audible that Oracle can do an audit of you. So, well, you can say no to Oracle all audits really. But it comes down to when Oracle is going to knock on your door, because there are customers out there that are buying Java for quite a big amount. Larry did mention that on his Q3 earnings call I think it was in March this year. Basically, one of the analysts on that call was saying, so what products are doing well for on-premise in the middleware area? And Larry said Java had a very good quarter. And this is how Oracle works: is that it starts small, but it's sort of it's the smartest people at Oracle sales that figure this one out. But what's going to happen is that this is going to be like a rampant fire. It's like with Oracle Cloud. It was a few people who realized, oh, the customers are compliant with their licensing, so let's resolve the audit with the cloud purchase. It doesn't start with everyone at the company doing it at the same time. It starts by spreading, and this is what's going to spread with Java, is that when Oracle realizes that there's a bigger pool of money out there to be found, this is going to explode. The only reason it has not exploded yet is because the normal account manager at Oracle is not compensated on Java. He's still compensated only on technology products in cloud, not on Java. So you could almost say that there's if they change the compensation plans at Oracle for their salespeople, this will absolutely explode. Every customer out there will be contacted by Oracle. And you might say at that time, no, but you don't have any audit clause. Of course, you want to fight that, but do you want to do that? So it's a good time to sort of do a proactive activity. So we mentioned earlier that we've done a few full Java reviews, and typically the average was that 70% of the Java out there you can uninstall. So by just doing a review, which we're going to go over how we did it, it's going to reduce your Java by 70%. So, so basically, okay, let me go back here. So I want to go and have a look here. So this agreement, definition software, it's basically covering everything in the source code, but not limited to libraries, source files, header files, and data files, any updates or error corrections, or any user manuals or program guides or other documentations provided to you by Oracle. So this is what it's covered, right? And then it says general purpose desktop computers and servers means computers, including desktops and laptop servers or servers used for general computing functions under end user control. So you have to go back and read that again. It's basically servers and desktops under end user control. So it's not, let's say it's a server which is running an ERP system with 100 users. That is not under end user control. You can argue actually. Such, but not, they're giving examples here of what they say is general purpose, such as, but not specifically limited to email, general purpose internet browsing, and Office suite productivity tools. So you can use Oracle Java files for internet browsing, emailing. So we know for a fact that IBM Lotus Notes are using some sort of Java. For example, Cisco WebEx. Cisco WebEx is, I think everyone is familiar with that. That is a web conference, and it does not require Java to install Cisco WebEx. But in order to view Java content, you need to have Java installed. And then you could actually argue, is WebEx, which is a conference system, is that actually part of the productivity tools, Office suite productivity tools? But if you're a customer that is using Java for, let's say, reporting time or invoicing, and you have 5,000 users, you could argue that's not really within this, how Oracle describes general purpose computing. Here, and let's continue. The use of software in systems and solutions that provide dedicated functionality other than as mentioned above. So that's one category. Or designed for use in embedded functions, software-specific applications. For example, but not limited to software embedded. So basically this is embedded in phones and all of that. But it says here, and other related systems are excluded from this definition and not licensed under this agreement. So most companies that are embedding Java in their phones, they've already had an agreement with Oracle. I talked about that earlier. But it also says here, if you go back to, where is this? That is just one category. There's here, or designed for use in embedded or function-specific software applications. There's three categories. It's general purpose computing. And then there's the solutions that provide dedicated functionality and embedded. So we're going to come to that, but obviously we recommend that you find out what is the usage, how are you using Java, what is this being used for? And then you need to put that and compare that usage. Is this usage allowed per the license agreement? And most likely it's going to come up if you take this to your company legal and they make a decision. Because you might be talking to service providers or something, but they might actually, I think I mentioned that in the Java article, if you might have read it, but there are service providers out there that basically brush this off. And our advice is that you should actually look at how are we using Java? And is that actually allowed per our agreement? And then it's up to you and your legal department to determine that. Because if you don't do that, Oracle will probably knock on the door. And then you will be surprised. So it's better to take this on head on rather than just ignore it. Can I move on? So here's an example of general purpose: internet browsing, PowerPoint and Word, email, Lotus Notes. So our experience is that when the companies that we helped took this to their legal, and they compared their Java usage, none of them came back and said that we think this is a free per the agreement. Application must be under end user control. And yes, there is vagueness in how the BCL is written, but most of the people here had a lot of knowledge about Oracle licensing, or Medium at least. And Oracle is far more weak when it comes to virtualization. So on VMware, you can push back much more. I think in this BCL agreement, they are much clearer than they are on virtualization. And you know, some of I might be a bit tainted because I was at Oracle for so many years, but part of my job at Oracle was writing these agreements and interpreting contracts. And I sort of lifted this my theory with some people who are still at Oracle, and they agreed 100% with me that the general purpose is very narrow. But again, it's up to everyone to make up their own decision. So